That was William Bluecroft reporting there. I want to bring in now Major John Spencer. He's a retired U.S. Army officer and chair of urban warfare studies at the Modern War Institute. He joins us from Colorado Springs. Major, it's good to have you. Let me get your take on the report that just aired and the numbers there. How do you read them? I saw you shaking your head.
Yeah, because some of them are just straight not accurate, and then others of them are mistelling a story to try to get to an inference of IDF action that I don't agree with in studying urban warfare across the history of time, to include modern history with other Western militaries. Gaza is not one of the most densest places on the. Yeah, so that comment that Gaza is one of the most densest places on the earth, or the comment that there are 20,000 civilians, which I'm not questioning because nobody can know, but the fact that not one of those numbers of perceived deaths is a Hamas militant, or the fact that 45% dumb bombs means that they don't hit the target. That's actually a very false statement. You can fire hundreds of thousands of munitions. The determination of whether it's dumb, as in it has this advanced modern technology called precision-guided munition or GPS, does not mean that every round doesn't hit where they're aiming. So like the ideals of the Blitz on London, which was indiscriminate bombings, as in bombs were dropped out of the sky and hit anything that they fell on, with not being just carpet bombing, unintended, directed munitions. But I can fire any type of munition from a mortar round to a bomb, and I will hit what I'm shooting at. So that's the ideal, that the use of the numbers means that, well, 45% of Israel's airstrikes have been indiscriminate, which is a very false statement.
Well, tell me then, Major, what does it mean? Does it mean that 45% of the bombs that have been dropped have not hit a deemed target? Is that what it's saying? They basically have just been let to fall, and they hit what they may?
No. So the inference is that they're not hitting what they're supposed to. The only difference between a dumb bomb using modern weapons and a guided precision is the probability of error, where a precision-guided munitions probability of error might be 1 meter, which is very accurate, and it's great. No military has ever fought a battle only using precision-guided munitions. In the U.S. military's support to the Battle of Mosul, we ran out of Hellfire missiles, which is a precision-guided munition. A dumb bomb will hit, but it may have a higher probability of hitting an error 5 meters to 30 meters from the target. But most of those are hitting where they're at, the legal military target. It's not like they're flying off course and hitting an unintended target. Okay. That's the problem, where the World War II bombings would hit a city, but they weren't aiming at a building. It might just be on the city, like London.
Well, I mean, let me just make sure I'm clear on this. So you're saying, too, that if a bomb is, let's say, a meter or two off target, then it can be considered a dumb bomb, which, I mean, it still actually hit its target. 1 meter may not be a big difference. Am I understanding you right?
Close, yeah. I mean, the difference between a precision-guided munition and a dumb bomb is the technology that's on it. But the accuracy and the probability of error. You can have a dumb bomb be as accurate as a precision-guided munition, but the probability or the chance of error is higher.
Well, Major, let me ask you this. That report was done based on U.S. intelligence. Let me ask you about the value of U.S. intelligence, because really the only people who can tell us for sure whether or not every bomb has hit every target, that's the IDF, and we're not privy to that information. So what do we make then of U.S. intelligence at this stage in this conflict?
No, I mean, I trust U.S. intelligence. And I think that statement of the difference between precision-guided munitions and, I don't like the term dumb bomb, is an accurate statement, but the way it's being used to infer is inaccurate, right? So it's good data, it's good intelligence, but it's inferring a false statement. And also the use of the term like most destructive war of the modern era, when it compares maybe a battle against one city in combination to all the cities in Gaza. There's no military in the world who has faced the challenge that Israel is facing right now in the war against Hamas. An entire underground war where the enemy is using the civilian population as its strategy to try to get the other side to stop moving forward for their military strategic objective. No military has faced a military who is shooting at its civilians behind them in the midst of the operation. Because of the 13,000 Hamas rockets, 100% of those have been dumb. They do not have precision-guided munition. Nobody's talking about that statistic.
Well, why aren't people talking about that statistic? And I'll ask you as a military man, is the IDF dropping the ball when it comes to the public relations campaign that it has been very open with since the beginning of this conflict? I mean, the information we get, most of the information, if it's not from U.S. intelligence, we're getting it from the IDF. I mean, what grade would you give them in their PR campaign?
I mean, at least I'm not a school teacher, but a high grade.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they have been calling. It's not on them to decide which bits of information get more media attention. Although they put out how much humanitarian aid goes in, how much Hamas rockets landed on Tel Aviv today. I mean, it puts out that information, but it's on us, as in the greater world, on which bits of information, like those 13,000 Hamas rockets that are dumb, aimed at civilian targets, are war crimes, and all of them. But yeah, there is an ownership, of course. The IDF is a Western military following the laws of war. But the way the media treats them is that they are looking for data that supports a narrative. That's a fact.
And I mean, so you're saying that the media many times is trying to push a story that puts the IDF in a bad light.
Correct.
How do we get to as close to the truth as possible, Major? Because I mean, I can tell you that me and my colleagues and I here, we want to do that. What is the truth about this conflict now, 11 weeks into the fighting?
The truth of it is the greatest test of the Western way of warfare. This ideal that a war can be fought within the bounds of international humanitarian law that has been created since World War II to reduce the suffering of civilians. Despite that, modern wars, let's say the last 40 years, 90% of the casualties of modern war are civilians. But that is an inherent nature of the fact that wars are moving into cities, despite everything that the world has done to prevent harm against civilians in wars. But they are the casualties of war. But this is actually the greatest test, and where if the perception of the use of force is more important than actually following the rules of war, the world will change. How do you get to a better, I mean, you asking me the question helps. Asking people who can identify when a piece of data is being cherry-picked to tell a very specific narrative, but you're offering debates and finding the people who are explaining, like, no, these are actually the rules.
Major John Spencer, unfortunately, we're out of time, but I appreciate this very candid discussion with you. I think that a lot of people around the world will be grateful that you spoke your mind tonight. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.